The Adventure of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Long Man Simplified English Series. Read by Khanittha Srirat. Chapter 10. Pirates. Tom's smile was made up now. He was gloomy and desperate. He was a lonely, faithless boy. He thought when they found out what they had driven him to, perhaps they would be sorry. Nothing would please them but to get rid of him. Let it be so, and let them blame him for the result. Yes, they had forced him to it at last. He would lead a life of crime. There was no choice. By this time he was far away from school, and the bell for lessons came faintly to his ear. The tears came into his eyes as the thought that he would never hear that old familiar sound again. Just at this point he met his best friend, Joe Harper, who had evidently a great and mournful purpose in his heart. Tom, wiping his eye with his lip, began to mourn something about his determination to escape from lack of sympathy at home by wandering into the great world, never to return. He ended by hoping that Joe would not forget him, but it appeared that Joe had also made up his mind to run away from home. He had been searching for Tom to give him this important piece of information. His mother had with him for drinking some cream which he had not tasted and which he knew nothing about. It was plain that she was tired of him and wished him to go. As the two boys walked sorrowing along their walk, to stand by each other and to be bothered till they relieved them of their troubles. Then there began to lay their plans. Joe wanted to be a holy man and live on bits of a cat, and die at last of cold, want, and grief. Much after listening to Tom, he agreed that there were some outstanding advantages about a life of crime, and so he consented to be a pilot. 3 miles below St. Petersburg, at a point where the Mississippi River was about a mile wide, there was a long narrow wood island with the sorrel sandbar at the head of it. This island would be a suitable nesting place. It was inhabited and lay far over towards the farther bank, facing a thick forest. So Jackson's Island was sought. Then there searched for huckleberry fins, and he joined them directly, for all professions were the same to him. They arranged to meet at lonely spot on the river bank 2 miles above the village at their favorite hour, midnight. There was a small log left there with their intent to capture it would bring hooks and fishing lines and such food, and he could steal in the dark and might stir it, whereof two pilots during 2 afternoon they told everyone that soon Tom would hear something stirring, or would got his wagon knows where one to keep it a secret, and wait. About midnight Tom arrived with some meat and a false trifle, and stopped in the trees, but on a steep slope overlooking the meeting place. He gave a low western. It was unsolid. From the foot of slope Tom wished twice more. These signals were answered in the same way. Who go there? Said a fine voice. Tom Sawyer, the brave adventurer of the Spanish Sea, gave me your name. Huck Finn, the red hand, and Joe Harper, the turtle of the oceans. Tom has provided this turtle from his favorite literature. Give the password to whisper delight, the same of words at same time to breathe the night. Then Tom lowered his knees down the slope and laid himself down after it, trailing both skin and clothing. In the effort, there was an easy, comfortable path along the bank at the foot of the slope, but Tom knew that a real pilot preferred difficulty and danger to ease, thought, and comfort. The tour of oceans has brought a big bag full of love and has tried himself out killing it there. Fitz the red hand has stolen a frying pan and a quantity of tobacco. The bank adventure of the Spanish. She said that they could not start without some fire that was a whistle. For mates were hardly know that in Tuesday they saw a fire upon and know that in those days their cliffs lived 100 yards above and they went to help themselves to growing price of food. They made an exciting adventure of it, saying, "Sure." Every now and then suddenly stopping with finger to lift moving with hands on imaginary knife and giving orders a face whisper. They know that the last men were no doubt at the village, but that did not matter. There has a still to fire in the light political where they're forcing off presently. Tom in comment Huck and after all, and Joe at the forward. Tom with a gloomy face and folded arms gave his orders in a low, stern whisper. "Bring her the white." "Aye, sir." "Steady, still, ready." "Steady it is, sir." "What sail is she crying?" "Mainsail, sir." "Send the offsail out." "Lively now." Aye, sir." As the boys steadily and unwastefully drove and left towards Miss River, it was no doubt understood that these orders were given only style and were not intended to mean anything in particular. Harder a word was said during the next 3/4 of an hour. Now the left was pacing to fill glimmering lights of the distant village. The back adventurer stood still with folded arms, taking a last look at the scenes of his former choice, and later shuffling. He wished that those whom he was left forever could see him now on the stormy sea, facing hardship and death with the courageous heart. The other pilots were taking a last look too, that looked so long that they nearly forced past its islands. But they discovered in danger in time, and at about 2 o'clock in the morning, the left start on the sandbar. They walked backwards and forwards through the shallow water until they had landed. Their surprise, they had found an old sail on the little left, and this there spread over some brush as a tiny shelter. Their food, they themselves would sleep in open air, on fan weather as pilots saw. They built a fire in the wood, cooked some meat in the frying pan, and had it for supper with some of the left. It seemed glorious fun to be feasting in that wild, free way, far from civilization. The fire lit up their faces, and the three talked aloud. After supper, they stretched themselves out on the grass, filled with contentment. "Isn't it jolly?" said Joe. "It's grand," said Tom. "I don't want anything better than this," said Huckleberry. I don't get enough to eat usually, and her people can't come and kick and worry me." Huckleberry now filled his pipe with tobacco press and growing coal to it, and blew out a cloud of sweet-smelling smoke. The other pilots envied him this impressive ways, and secretly determined to adopt it too. "What do pilots do?" asked Huck. "Oh, they have a fire dam," said Tom. "They take ships and burn them, and get the money and bury it in awful place in the Iceland where there are ghosts to watch it and kill everybody in ships. And they wear a loveless coat, all gold and silver and diamonds," said Joe. "I didn't think properly there's for pilots," said Huck, regarding his old clothes steady. "But these are only ones I have got." But the other boys told him that the firecracker would come fast enough after their dads began their adventures. Gradually, their talk died out, and sleepiness began to steal upon the eyelids of the adventure. The pipe dropped from the fingers of the left-hander. The terror of the oceans and the blank adventure and more difficulty in getting to sleep. They said their prayers silently, and lying down, said there was nobody there with authority to make them kneel and say them aloud as they were about to fall asleep, and an unwelcome visitorship up, and could not be driven away. It was consigned. They began to feel a vague fear that which was wrong, to run away from home. Next, they thought of the stolen need a bed. They tried to argue it away by reminding Consign that there has breakfast and cake and apples without permission dozens of times, but Consign would not accept such an agreement. In the end, there were forced on admit running of birch cake was only taking, while running of bright with meat and love of both was plain. steering, and there was comment against that in the Bible. So in their hearts, they resolved that as long as there were pilots, they would have nothing to do with the crime of steering. Conscience was steadfast, and these old pilots fell faithfully asleep.